Hey, it's Rich, the Louisiana Hobby Guy. And today I'm doing a second look video on the Aliencell X1. So I've got it here in the shop. And a couple of weeks ago, I did a first look video. The team over at Aliencell came to the US to do the lightburn experience in New York. And then they decided to come here and demonstrate the machine in my shop, which I was very impressed. After I saw the demo, I said, yes, I would definitely be interested in the beta version of this machine, and that's what today's video is all about. So I have the beta version here in the laser lab, and I've got it 2 days ago, or actually 3 days ago, and I've been like a kid on Christmas Day with a new toy. So I've spent a lot of hours already in the first 2 or 3 days setting it up, doing material tests, using it, and I got to tell you that I am very impressed with my first use of this machine. So that's what today's video is going to be all about. I'm going to go through everything from the unboxing all the way through the material tests, the light burn setup, and at the end, I'll give you, and actually a couple of projects that I ran. Then at the end, I'll give you a summary of what I think about this machine. And I think you're going to be impressed as well. And the reason why I'm putting this video out so quickly is there's only about 13 or 14 days left in the Kickstarter. And these machines are heavily discounted for the initial launch, as well as you get a free air compressor with it. So that's why I'm pushing this video out a little bit early. But trust me, I've got a bunch of hours on this machine already. So I think 4 or 5 hours of actual run time. So let's get started. A quick overview of what's inside the laser, inside the packaging. And I guess we'll start with all of this up front. This is the air hose for the air pump. These are the cables to hook up the air pump to give it power. Power supply, power cords, all the normal stuff there. This is something interesting. They've got these awesome magnets. These things are really powerful. I tried it on the inside here. Really incredibly powerful magnets. There are 4 of them that come in the box. These are some air filters that go inside the air pump right here. This is a very unique exhaust fan here. So this is sort of like an inline fan, but if you look inside, you'll see it's got like a centrifugal design on the inside. You got one fan boosting the other fan, and it's not a computer fan, so it's an actual exhaust fan. And on the back side here, you've got your gaskets and your 2 electrical plugs, and it just snaps in place. There's a release button top and bottom to take it off, which is really nice, and you can snap it in either left or right. It works both directions, so that's kind of nice too. It's pretty rare that you see a laser where you can just pop the fan off and switch it around and have it exhaust the other way. So moving on, it comes with 2 keys for the laser. There's a USB-C to A converter. You've got your 3 little Allen wrenches, 2 extra lenses for it, so you got 3 lenses in total, and you've got 22 of these knife beds, and this is what comes with it by default, the knife bed. And I kind of like the knife bed. I put the honeycomb in. The honeycomb is extremely heavy. Really shocking how thick that honeycomb was. And let me give you a little shot of it real quick. If I open this up, it is a super thick honeycomb. And I'll show you the magnet. Yeah, it's even hard to get off. Not quite sure how to use it because it doesn't fall into a hole, but I guess I'll figure that out. But yeah, that is a really super heavy duty honeycomb that's inside here. And these are the slats where the knives fit into. If you want to use the knives, it comes standard with the knives. I have the upgraded version that came with the honeycomb. And that locks in place, and that honeycomb is fixed in place on the inside. It just perfectly fits inside the hole for it. So I really like that. Very few manufacturers have done that. And then in the back here, got some laser safety glasses. They are not OD rated. It's not printed on the lens itself, so I wouldn't necessarily trust them. But this is the exhaust hose. It expands out to about 9 feet. And you've got some adapters. Should you want to use your compressor, it comes with 2 air compressor adapters, quick connects, with a standard fitting on one side and the air hose on the other. And then of course, this is the autofocus, and this just snaps on with these 3 magnets. The 3 magnets hold it in place. Be careful when you're unpacking, because I found these slate coasters inside the packing material that you could hardly see. And this is the compressor, the air compressor. Now this is 14.5 psi. It is rated in psi, and I got to see this in action firsthand. It really is a very nice compressor, and it is also powered by the laser. So in lightburn, when you turn on air assist, it will automatically turn this on when it reaches the layer that has air assist turned on. Nice venting on either side. Not quite sure what that see-through window is there, but you can see inside there. Something in there. So that is everything that's inside the box when you first open it. The installation of the module is really quite simple. There's a little V-track. You just slide it in place, and on the side you pull up that lever to lock it. And on the other side, you've got the wiring connection. My hand was in the way, so I didn't show you that. And the air connection. Very simple installation. And here is the autofocus that just snaps right in. The magnets hold it in place. It's not quite as easy to get it off, but there you can see it. Snaps in place. Super simple to put this together. All right, I know I already ran these photos, but I just wanted to embellish a little bit on them. The packaging was great. It was easy to lift out. There's plenty of protection on all of the acrylic for this. Everything is packed neatly inside the machine, and it's really very easy to take everything out. There are screws that hold everything in place. So there's one on the left side, there's one on the right side of the gantry, and then there's one on the module itself. The bottom does have standoffs for the honeycomb, and the honeycomb is optional. It's a very sturdy honeycomb, and it pulls out like a drawer so that you can engrave below it, which is nice. There's my workbench right below it. There is a UL listed power supply and easy access to the control board. Just pop the cover off. So here's something very unique. It's a toolless exhaust hose. It screws into the exhaust fans. That's something I don't think I've seen before, not on a laser engraver, and I think that is really cool. Here is the front right side, and you have your e-stop. On the bottom left is your offline files if you want to load them from a USB drive. Then you've got your computer connection and 4 different accessory ports and the interlock for safety. This does come in 20, 40, and 60 watts, and the firmware upgrades are simple, done over wireless. It does have lightburn mode, and I did test most of the features in lightburn, and they worked really, really well. So I run a bunch of projects. This is my very first project, and I ran it at full speed, 36,000 millimeters per minute. And the details on this were incredible, came out really great. This does have a really large workbed, 24 by 18 inches for bigger projects. I did cut out a little jig for the top left corner, the 00's top left. And in their software, it's perfect, but in Lightburn, it's off just a little bit. So I ran a square on a piece of wood and determined where the 00 was. I used the acrylic that they provided in the sample kit, and I cut out this little jig to put up in the top left corner. So I am a fan of absolute coordinates. That's the way I work with the laser. And now this little jig sets it up so that I can just drop any material right in that spot and work out from the 00, which is the best way to use a laser. I ran material tests on all of the included material that came with the laser. And this is an example of the chipboard. This is 3mm chipboard. I could have gotten as much as 1200 or more millimeters per minute on the cut. And all of these just popped right out. I didn't actually push anything out on this. And I think that came out wonderful. Here's an example of engraving using the settings that I got from the material test. This was done at 36,000 millimeters per minute on the engraving in the middle, and the offset was done at 30,000 millimeters per minute, and they were both set to 50% power. And so on the other side of this slate, I did a material test and then flipped it over, took the feed off, and did, from the material test, I did this engraving at 36,000 millimeters per minute. This was at 60% power for the engraving. And then on the offset around the outside, I dropped it to 30,000 millimeters per minute and 40% power, and came out absolutely incredible. So my 40-watt library that I'd already developed for another laser was not comparable. This laser outperformed the library that I had, and I had to go in and make changes based on the material tests that I ran. Okay, so let's talk about my first impressions and some of the features of this machine. We'll start with the features. So I really enjoy that 7-inch touchscreen. And a lot of these features come from the 3D printing world. And that is the experience of the team that has developed this machine. That 7-inch screen is just so responsive. Everything that you touch, it's not like my 3D printers with the tiny little 3-inch screen where you're touching things 3 and 4 times to get to the menu. This one is super responsive, and it has everything that you could possibly need on it. So first off, you've got a control board with the M54 chip, and it is running Linux, and that has 8 gigabytes of RAM. And so this is basically a computer, an onboard computer, and it does everything that you could possibly want for a laser machine like this. It's got device calibration like you find on 3D printers, where it runs the vibration calibration, which is pretty interesting. You've got your firmware information. You can update your firmware in one touch, which I really find nice. First thing I did when I turned it on was hooked it up to the Wi-Fi. It's got 5G Wi-Fi, so it's super fast. And almost immediately a message popped up and said, firmware upgrade available. Would you like to upgrade now? And I just hit start. Yes. And it took about 5 minutes altogether for it to download, install, and restart. And easiest firmware upgrade I've ever seen. You know, on some lasers, you've got to get a USB drive. You have to format it to FAT32. You have to download the file, go through a series of commands. None of that. You just press one button. So that was really nice. It's also got built-in device logs. And should you have a problem, you can upload that device log from the controller right to their cloud service, and a technician can look and see what went wrong, if anything. You can also do a complete factory restore right from the touchpad. So that's pretty neat. You've got the local area network, you've got the Bluetooth, the air pump, which is a mini air compressor, puts out 14.5 psi. And that is right above my sweet spot. So when I use my shop compressor, like on the RM laser in the back there, I usually have that set somewhere between 12 and 13 psi, and that's good enough for up to 8 millimeter. If you go above that, it may be even too much. It may cut down the cutting ability of the laser. So I like the fact that this has a 14.5 psi air compressor. It's not an aquarium pump. And during that Kickstarter, they're going to throw in that air compressor for free. There's just so much. Another thing too is your offline files. So let's say that you did a job for someone last week and they call you up today and they say, I'd like another one of those things that you made for me last week. You don't even have to turn on your computer. So you basically just click on files and then you scroll through. I mean, there's actual pictures of every file that you did on the screen. You pick the file that you want, you run it again. So don't even have to turn on your computer. And it stores those files in memory. And like I said, it's got 8 gigabytes of memory. So you can store plenty of files in there. And you can always go back and just, one touch to rerun a job without using your computer. Another great feature. So all in all, I had no issues setting this up whatsoever. I was a little concerned when I saw the box because I know how big and heavy this is. This is a heavy machine. It's like 70 pounds. And when that UPS driver pulled up to the house, I happened to be walking out the door at the same time as he was offloading it. And he rolled it off the back of his truck and it just fell down to the ground. And I was like, oh, Lord, I can only imagine what happened to the machine. And, I said to him, I said, that's a very expensive machine that you just threw off the back of your truck. Of course, I just got the standard, oh, well, sorry, where do you want me to put it? So I was a little bit concerned, but it was packed well enough. And you saw the unpacking in the beginning of the video. Very well packed. I especially like the fact that they put those screws in to hold everything in place so you didn't have to worry about any damage. That was the only thing I was concerned with. I was able to set this whole thing up by myself. Even though I have back trouble, those straps really helped out a lot. I was able to slide it off my table, lift it up toward my chest, and had the box fall off the table and turn around and put it down onto my workbench. I don't recommend that you do this by yourself. Absolutely get somebody to help you do it, but I had no issues. But then again, I was going from one workbench this far away, to another workbench. So pretty much I just tipped it up, turned, and put it down. So not a big deal. But the assembly was very, very easy to do. There was very little of it. And I can say that after running this so far, if you look at the clock on the machine, so if you go to the machine use and see how many hours, it only says 4.5 hours, but putting it through its paces, and going through all the functions and everything else, I probably spent, 14, 15 hours playing with it, moving it around in Lightburn and just getting familiar with the machine. I got familiar with their software, which it's decent software for sure. It's very similar to things like We Create or Xtool, very similar to that. It does have more functions than you're going to get in Lightburn. So as far as like if you wanted to watch on your cell phone and go into the house and have some lunch, you'd be able to watch the job running on your cell phone. So like remote monitoring and things like that. But they also have a built-in vector library with all different types of vector files, things like that. And visual settings where you can see how the engraving is going to come out with sliders, and set it to the speed and power, picking the material, so on and so on and so on. I prefer making my own library from material tests because it doesn't matter what laser that you're using, their testing is not going to match your testing. So I've created my own library for this. That's pretty much what I've been doing in those 4.5 hours, is running material tests. So anyway, I am very impressed with this machine. I am probably as impressed as I was with the Lasermatic behind me, and that's pretty hard to do. So this was and still is the world's best diode laser, in my opinion. But Roly Automation is going out of business, and I was contacted by these people, I don't know, 6 or 7 months ago to test their machine. And I test all kinds of machines. I've got the We Create 40 watt, We Create 20 watt, We Create Lumos. I've got a couple of Monport machines. I've got the Aeon RF laser in the laser lab. So, I do videos on all different types of machines. And I have to say that this one next door, the X1, is going to be my favorite recommendation for lasers. So if you're in the market for a laser engraver and you need a really big bed like this one has, and you want all of the bells and whistles, there's no other laser on the market that compares to the X1, in my opinion. And I think you're going to like it. So if you want to take advantage of that Kickstarter with the reduced prices, and I think they're probably making these at cost, you can get like the base model 20 watt for $900. I don't even think, I think it probably costs them that much to make it. And it's probably only for this Kickstarter. I know the prices are going to go up after the Kickstarter. I'll put a link down in the description where you can go check it out for yourself. If you're interested and you want to back the program, they're going to throw in the free air compressor with the deal. So the Kickstarter is going to be over in, I don't know, 13 or 14 days. And from what I'm told, they're going to start shipping the actual product, not this beta version, but an upgraded product. In other words, the firmware and everything is going to be bigger and better than it was. And I've gotten 2 firmware updates since I got this within 2 days. So they are working hard on that. But at the end of the Kickstarter, they said they're going to be shipping within 30 days, the final product. So now would be the time, if you're interested in having the latest and greatest laser engraver, you can pick up a 2040 or 60 watt version of this machine and just follow the link down in the description to their Kickstarter. This is not a paid endorsement of the company. It's my first opinion. So I'm not being paid for this in any way, shape, or form. There is no affiliate link down below. It's just a pure link to the Kickstarter that was sent to me by the company. And this is my honest opinion, and I am very impressed. So that's about it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. And as always, I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.